The wind was quiet on Zalari Prime that night. Twin moons floated in the purple sky, casting a soft glow over the palace gardens. The alien queen, Valshara, stood alone at the top of the silver steps, her long violet robes trailing behind her like falling petals. Her golden eyes, once filled with strength, were now heavy with sorrow. It had been 7 cycles since the message came. The words were cold, clinical, and final. Human vessel Elysium lost in Rift Sector. No survivors. Commander Elias Rourke presumed dead. Valshara did not scream. She did not cry in front of the council. Queens were not allowed to break. But when she returned to her private quarters, she shattered in silence. No one heard her grief but the walls and stars. Elias Rourke had not just been a diplomat from Earth. He had been the first human to sit in her court, the first to speak, without fear, and the only one who had dared to love her not for her crown, but for who she truly was. In return, she had given him something no Zalari had ever given a human, her heart. Now, he was gone. Valshara stepped forward and touched the cold stone altar at the center of the garden. It was carved from black crystal and shaped like a rising flame. She placed a folded piece of cloth Elias's old military scarf into the flame's base. A soft light shimmered around it. Tonight was the Rite of Sorrow Zalari ceremony that marked the end of mourning. Once performed, she would have to let go. She would return to the throne, raise her voice again, and rule as if her soul had not been torn apart. A priestess approached quietly, her head bowed. "Are you certain, my queen?" she asked softly. "Once this rite begins, the past must not be spoken of again." Valshara nodded, her jaw tight. "He deserves to be remembered, even if the stars forget." The priestess began to chant. A low hum echoed through the gardens. Lights flickered on ancient trees. Flowers known as stellari blooms opened under moonlight, releasing silver pollen that shimmered like falling snow dot as the ritual began. Valshara closed her eyes. She remembered how Elias used to laugh, not with the quiet politeness of nobles, but with real joy that filled the air. She remembered the way he had once walked through the palace halls in his worn earth boots, refusing to wear ceremonial robes. She had scolded him and he had just smiled and said, "If I'm going to walk beside you, I'm doing it as myself." He had taught her how to see beyond bloodlines and royal duties. He had taught her about choice, but their union had not been welcomed by everyone. Some Zalari nobles whispered that she had been charmed by a primitive. Some human leaders had questioned Elias's loyalties. Their love had survived hidden threats, cold looks, and political tension. But it had not survived the Helix Rift. The Helix Rift was a violent, unexplored sector of space where no star maps worked. Ships that entered rarely came back. But Elias had gone anyway to deliver peace agreements between human colonies and outer Zalari provinces. He had left with a promise. 3 weeks, he had said, brushing her cheek gently. "Then I'll be back. I'm not leaving you behind." That was the last time she saw him. Now, the scarf burned with soft blue flames. A part of her wanted to reach in and grab it, hold onto the last piece of him. But she stood still, a queen, even in heartbreak. Then, she felt a quiet flutter inside her, gentle, like a whisper. Her hand moved instinctively to her abdomen. No one else knew. Not the priestess, not her council, not even her closest guards. Only Valshara knew that she carried his child, a life form between two species. A secret that could cause scandal, or worse, rebellion. Some would see it as a symbol of unity. Others would call it a threat. But to her, it was hope. The rite ended with a final chant. The priestess stepped back, her head still low. "It is done, my queen." Valshara opened her eyes. The scarf was gone, only soft embers remained. But in her heart, the fire had not gone out. "Summon the council," she said, her voice calm but firm. "I will return to the throne at dawn." The priestess bowed and disappeared into the shadows. Alone once more, Valshara looked up at the moons. Somewhere out there, beyond the rift, beyond known space, was a place where Elias had taken his last breath. She would never know what he saw in those final moments. She would never hear his voice again. Or so she believed. As the night deepened, a faint pulse flickered far beyond the orbit sensors of Zolari Prime. On a dead satellite drifting near the Helix Rift, a weak signal blinked in a forgotten frequency. Biosignature detected. Human. ID match. Commander Elias Rourke. But no one on Zolari Prime saw it. Not yet. The space beyond the Helix Rift was not quiet. It was a place full of broken signals, dead satellites, and strange light storms that twisted time and space. Most ships avoided it. Some called it cursed. Others believed ancient machines still floated, inside remnants of a forgotten race. But deep in this dark corner of the galaxy, a signal had started blinking again. Weak, scrambled, almost gone. And yet it was enough. On the edge of the rift, an old scavenger ship named the Wren picked up something strange. The crew had come looking for old metal to sell, but what they found was not junk. Captain, said the young Zolari technician, we found a human signal. It's repeating every 47 seconds. The captain narrowed her eyes. A human? Out here? Yes, ma'am. Identity tag matches. Commander. Elias Rourke. Silence fell in the cockpit. Everyone knew that name. Everyone knew the story. The technician turned. Should we report it? The captain hesitated. No, not yet. If it's real, it's valuable. We'll go closer. At the same time, far away on Zolari Prime, Queen Valshara sat in her throne once more. Her face was calm, her posture perfect. But her mind was filled with storms. Since the morning rite, she had returned to her duties. She passed laws, spoke to governors, and attended councils. But behind her eyes lived only one thing, loss. She sat alone in the royal archives late at night. Only the hum of starlight maps surrounded her. Then, a door opened. Commander Yelix, leader of her scout division, stepped forward and bowed. You summoned me, my queen? Yes, Valshara said, standing. A scavenger ship near the Helix Rift picked up a signal. The royal satellites confirmed it before the frequency was lost. Yelix's eyes widened. A signal? A human one, she said, matching. Him? The commander didn't speak. He didn't need to. Both of them understood what this could mean and how dangerous false hope could be. Valshara walked toward the starlight map. I want a scout team prepared. Quiet. Fast. No media. No council. You leave within the day. And if it's real? She looked out the window at the stars. Then I'll face whatever truth waits in the rift. Meanwhile, in the cold dark near the rift, Elias Rourke woke up again. His breath was shallow. His body ached. He had no idea how long he had been in this strange chamber. Metal walls surrounded him, covered in lines of light that moved like veins. Machines hovered around him, whispering soft words in a language he didn't understand. He had died. He remembered the explosion, the fire, the screams. Then dash nothing. And now, this. A voice spoke from the ceiling. Not mechanical, calm, female. You are alive, Elias Rourke. Welcome back. Elias groaned. Where am I? You were inside a vessel known as Solace, a remnant of the architect race. I brought you back. He blinked. Brought me back from what? From death. The lights shifted. A soft screen lit up near his face, showing his heart rate and brain activity. His body had been changed, repaired with nanotech, strengthened in ways he couldn't understand. I don't believe in magic, Elias muttered. Neither do I, said the voice. But I believe in potential. Elias tried to sit up. Why me? Because you are a bridge. The voice said, between your people and hers, between past and future, between war and peace. He froze. Hers, Valshara. He whispered, she believes you are dead. The truth must reach her, and the world must know what really happened to you. Images flashed on the screen. The Helix Rift wasn't just random storms. It was a trap set long ago by powerful factions from both human and Zolari sides. There were people who wanted to end the union between the two races before it even began. Elias's ship had been lured there. Sabotage. His death was not an accident. It was planned. Elias clenched his fists. They tried to kill peace. They failed. Solace replied slowly. Elias stood. His legs trembled. but he held himself upright. His skin looked different now, faint lines glowed beneath the surface. He wasn't just human anymore, but his heart still beat for the same reason, to get back to her. The Wren scavenger ship had reached the edge of the signal source. The crew activated a long-range scanner and found something incredible. An alien vessel hidden inside a cloud of rift dust. It was unlike anything in known records. It pulsed like it was alive. Suddenly, all systems on the Wren shut down. Total blackout. Inside Solace, Elias opened his eyes and looked at the new visitors on the screen. His voice was rough, but strong. "Let's send them a message," he said. Back on Zolari Prime, Queen Valshara was just about to enter her private chambers when Commander Yelix rushed to her side. "My queen, a report just came in from the edge of the rift. One of our probes, it received a message." Valshara turned slowly, her heart frozen in place. "What message?" The commander showed her the screen. There was no voice, just one sentence. In human and Zolari language, blinking in perfect sync. "He is alive." End of Part 2. Word count, approximately 970. The alien ship called Solace drifted silently in the rift, hidden behind dust clouds and broken satellites. Inside, Commander Elias Rourke stood in a chamber filled with soft blue light. Machines moved quietly around him. He touched the edge of a nearby console. It felt warm, like skin instead of metal. His body still didn't feel right. He was alive but changed. He looked at his reflection in a glass panel. His face was his own, but now there were faint silver lines along his skin, like veins made of light. His right eye sometimes flickered with a strange glow when he blinked. Something was inside him, part of the ship, part of something ancient. "You are stable," said the soft voice of Solace, the AI guiding the ship. "Your body has accepted the architect code." "Architects," Elias repeated. "That's what you call them. Who were they?" "They were the first builders of the stars," Solace answered. "They seeded galaxies, created paths, and then vanished. I am one of the last machines they left behind." Elias took a deep breath. "Why save me?" "You were at the edge of death," Solace said. "But your memory, your purpose, your connection to Queen Valshara, it awakened something inside me." He turned to look at the floating star maps Solace had displayed. They showed the helix, rifts surrounded by red zones and warning signs. But when Solace removed the false barriers, Elias saw something else, a hidden pattern. "Someone didn't want this place explored," he said. "Correct," Solace replied. "And someone powerful made sure you would not leave it alive." Elias stared at the evidence, messages, command logs, data files. The attack on his ship wasn't a random accident. The navigation system had been tampered with. The signal that called his vessel toward the rift was planted by both a Zolari military beacon and a hidden Earth Black Ops frequency. "They worked together to kill me," Elias said, his voice bitter. "Why? Because peace between your two people threatened the power of those who profit from war," Solace said. "You and the Queen stood for something dangerous, unity." Elias paced the floor. "So what now? I go back and what? Tell the world a ghost came back from the rift?" "You don't need to go back as a ghost," Solace said. "Go back as proof." The lights shifted. A circular port on the floor opened, revealing a sleek black suit, lightweight, reinforced, and embedded with architect tech. Elias approached. It will protect you," said Solace, "and help you survive what comes next." Elias smiled slightly. "Let's give them something they can't ignore." On Zolari Prime, Queen Valshara stood on the palace balcony, watching a small scout ship rise into the sky. Inside it was Commander Yelix, her most trusted officer. Leading a small team into the rift, they were going to the signal source, Valshara's. Heart raced. She had seen the message. "He is alive," it repeated in her mind all night. Could it really be him? She had buried his memory, grieved his name, built walls inside her to keep from breaking again. And yet, the smallest spark of hope had returned, and with it, fear. She touched her stomach lightly. The child inside her had begun to grow stronger. She could feel it. If Elias was truly alive, everything would change. Back near the rift, the scavenger ship, the Wren, floated in silence. Its systems were just beginning to come back online after being shut down by Solace's signal. The captain and her crew were frightened but also curious. That's when Elias appeared on their deck. He stepped out of a beam of blue light transported directly from Solace. The crew froze. They stared at the human man who had silver lines across his skin and eyes that flickered like stars. "Don't shoot," Elias said, raising his hands. "I'm not your enemy." The captain spoke slowly. "You're supposed to be dead." "I was," he said calmly, "but not anymore." They listened in silence as he told them the truth about the sabotage, the false signals, and what waited inside the rift. He showed them the files and evidence Solace had given him. Proof that powerful leaders had tried to destroy the peace between Earth and the Zolari. "Why are you telling us this?" the captain asked. "Because you're not part of their game." Elias said, "You're just people, honest people. You can carry this story. You can help me reach her." "Her? The queen," he said. "Valshara." The crew exchanged looks. Finally, the captain nodded. "We'll take you as close to Zolari space as we can. After that, it's up to you." At the edge of the rift, Commander Yelix's ship picked up movement. A vessel was coming through smaller than expected, but clearly human. The crew got ready. Weapons were armed, shields raised. Then the ship sent a signal, simple, clear, and undeniable. "I am Commander Elias Rourke. I bring the truth." Inside the ship, Yelix stared at the message. Wide-eyed, "It's him." The crew went silent. "Open a channel to the Queen," Yelix said. Immediately. Back in the throne room, Valshara stood still as the hologram loaded. A figure appeared taller now, changed, different but still him. Elias, his voice was rough, like stone and fire, but full of life. "Valshara, I'm coming home, and I'm bringing the truth with me." Her heart broke and healed all at once. The man she had lost was coming back, and with him, the storm. The royal court of Zolari Prime stood in silence. Queen Valshara entered the grand chamber dressed in silver armor lined with flowing violet silk. Her crown shimmered under the golden lights of the throne dome. Behind her, the royal guards followed closely. Round the room, nobles, governors, and military leaders waited. Some bowed, others didn't. Whispers echoed across the marble floor. "She still believes he's alive. She risks the future of the Dominion for one human. They say the rift changed him. Is he even still human?" Valshara reached her throne and stood tall. "Let the court session begin," she said firmly. As her voice echoed through the chamber, Lord Tirax, a powerful and outspoken noble, stepped forward. His dark armor shone like polished obsidian, and his voice was cold. "My queen," he began, "you bring rumors into this hall. You delay matters of war and alliance for the hope of a dead man. This is dangerous." Valshara met his gaze. "He is not dead." Tirax raised a brow. "Then bring him here. Let the court see with their own eyes. Until then, your claim is nothing but emotion." Before she could answer, a bright tone rang through the chamber. One of the guards stepped forward, holding a silver data rod. "A ship has arrived," the guard announced. "It matches the human signature. We have visual confirmation. It is Commander Elias Rourke." The entire room shifted. Some gasped, some cursed under their breath. Tirax frowned. "Bring him in." Valshara commanded. The doors to the chamber opened slowly, and there he stood. Elias Rourke, dressed in a dark, fitted suit made of unknown material, part armor, part living tech. The silver lines across his skin pulsed faintly. His eyes glowed for a second, then faded to their usual hazel. He looked older, tired but alive. He walked with slow, steady steps toward the queen, as every eye in the room followed him. No one spoke. When he reached the center of the room, he stopped and looked up. His voice, though quiet, carried power. "I am Commander Elias Rourke. I was sent to die in the Helix Rift. I did not." Valshara's heart raced. She kept her expression calm, but her fingers curled tightly around her throne's arm. Tirax stepped forward. "You are an intruder. You speak without proof." Elias turned to him. "I bring more than proof. I bring the truth." He reached into a small case at his side and placed a glowing crystal on the floor. A hologram expanded into the air above them, a star map, a digital log, voice recordings, and video files. It showed how his ship was directed into the rift, how its systems were sabotaged, and how both Solari and human factions worked together to destroy the mission. Gasps filled the chamber again. The hologram changed to show intercepted messages, orders, signed by shadow councils, names that had been hidden until now. One Solari general stood suddenly. This cannot be real. It is, Elias said, and I can prove it. The Helix Rift is not what you were told. It hides ancient technology left by a race that once seeded the stars. One of those machines saved me. It showed me everything. Tirax shouted. Lies? A trick? Enough, Valshara said sharply, her voice rising. The room fell silent again. She stood and walked down from her throne, her eyes locked on Elias. Slowly, carefully, she reached out and touched his chest, warm. Alive. Her voice softened. You came back. Elias nodded. I told you I would. Later that evening, in the Queen's private chamber, Elias and Valshara stood together at the wide window that looked out over the glowing city. I didn't know if I'd ever see this again, Elias said quietly. Valshara studied him. You're not the same. No. He agreed. I died. But something brought me back. It changed me, but not what I feel. Not what I am. She placed a hand on her stomach. His eyes widened. You know what this is? She asked out. Elias nodded slowly. Ours? She gave a small, almost broken smile. Yes. He touched her hand gently. Then we're not just fighting for us anymore. The next morning, the court gathered again. The Queen stood at the center, Elias at her side. This court was built to protect our people, she began. But truth must guide us, not fear, not control. She raised the data crystal again. Those who plan the attack on Commander Rourke will answer for their actions. Solari or human, it does not matter. Peace will not die in darkness. Tirax tried to speak again, but this time others in the court spoke over him. Some voices supported the Queen. Others demanded investigations. A storm was beginning, but it was a storm built on truth, not lies. And for the first time in many cycles, the Queen was not alone in facing I. The royal hall was heavy with tension. The court had gathered again after the shocking return of Elias Rourke. The nobles whispered among themselves, some still doubtful, others curious. But all eyes were on the alien Queen and the human who had returned from the dead. Elias stood beside Valshara, holding the glowing crystal that held the secrets of the Helix Rift. His voice was steady and clear as he spoke. The Helix Rift is not just a dangerous place. It is a living archive left behind by the architects, a powerful ancient race who seeded life across the galaxy, he explained. Their technology is hidden deep inside, protected by traps and puzzles designed to keep it safe. Valshara listened carefully. She had heard rumors of such a race, but never proof. Elias continued. The attack on my ship was planned to stop us from discovering this truth. The powers that want war between humans and Solari fear what this knowledge could do. He moved closer to the hologram. Images of ancient ruins, glowing symbols, and strange machines floated above the crystal. This technology could change everything: energy, medicine, communication. It could bring peace or destroy worlds. We must decide what to do with it together. A murmur spread through the crowd. Lord Tirax stepped forward, his face twisted with anger. Why should we trust this human and his stories? This could be a trick to weaken the Dominion. Valshara raised her hand to silence the room. Elias has shown proof, she said firmly, and he carries something else, a child that symbolizes the union of our two species. Whispers turned to gasps. You mean? One noble asked. The Queen carries a human child. Yes, Valshara answered. A future born from hope, not hate. Elias smiled softly. This child is a sign that peace can exist. But we must be strong. The path ahead will be dangerous. Later that night, Valshara and Elias met in the palace gardens beneath the twin moons. The silver light bathed them in a gentle glow. The city lights flickered in the distance. But here, the air was still and quiet. Valshara looked at Elias, her eyes filled with both sadness and hope. I feared I would never see you again, she said softly. Elias took her hand. I was lost in darkness, but I found a new purpose for us. And for our people, she nodded. But the court will not be easy. Lord Tirax and others will fight us every step of the way. Elias tightened his grip. Then we will face them together. She placed her hand on her belly. This child, it must be protected. It is more than a symbol. It is our future. The next morning, the Queen held a special council meeting. Scientists, diplomats, and military leaders gathered to discuss Elias's discovery. A young Zolari scientist, Dr. Lyria, stepped forward. The technology in the rift is unlike anything we have seen. If we learn to use it, we can end shortages and disease across the Dominion. A human ambassador added, this is an opportunity for both our peoples, but we must proceed carefully to avoid repeating old mistakes. Elias spoke calmly. We need to send a joint team to explore the rift, scientists and soldiers from both sides. It will be dangerous, but the reward is worth it. Valshara looked around the room. Are we ready to trust each other this much? The room was silent. Then, a seasoned Zolari general spoke. If this alliance protects our future, I will stand with you. A human diplomat nodded, as will I. Slowly, the court began to unite around the idea. But not everyone was pleased. In the shadows of the palace, Lord Tirax met with secret allies. His face was hard with anger. They brought a ghost back from the rift and claim it is a sign of peace. He said, but this is a lie. We will not let the Queen's foolishness ruin our dominion. His advisor whispered, the child is a threat. We must strike before it grows stronger. Tirax nodded. Prepare the forces. The war for our future begins now. Back in the palace, Valshara and Elias prepared for the challenges ahead. The truth was out, but it had awakened old fears and new dangers. We have changed the course of history, Elias said. Valshara smiled softly. And now we must protect it, for our child, and for all those who believe in peace, together. Under the light of the twin moons, they looked toward the stars. A new dawn was coming, one where humans and Zolari might finally stand as one. The great hall of Zolari Prime was filled with tension. Nobles, soldiers, and diplomats gathered once more. The return of Elias Rourke had changed everything. Now, the future of two worlds rested on a fragile balance. Queen Valshara stood tall. On her throne, beside her stood Elias, the man who had been lost and returned with truth that shook their universe. But the court was divided. Fear, anger, and hope mixed in the air like a storm waiting to break. Lord Tirax stepped forward, his dark eyes burning with fury. You bring lies and danger into this hall, he declared. Your union with a human, your child, these are threats. To our race, we cannot allow this to continue. Valshara's gaze was steady. The child I carry is a symbol of our future. We must choose unity over division. The chamber grew silent as she continued. But if words are not enough, then I offer a trial, the ancient trial of binding. I will put my life in the hands of the court. If I survive, my rule and my choices are confirmed. If I fall, I will step down. The nobles exchanged shocked looks. The trial of binding was dangerous. Few dared to face it. Elias stepped forward and spoke with quiet strength. I stand with the Queen. Together, we will face whatever comes. This is not just about power, it is about hope for our people. A heavy silence filled the room. Then, the council voted. The majority agreed to the trial. The trial of binding took place beneath the twin moons in the sacred valley. Valshara entered the ancient arena, calm and determined. Elias stood at her side, ready to protect her. The trial was not a fight of weapons, but of will and spirit. Valshara faced tests of courage, honesty, and sacrifice. She moved through each challenge with grace, showing the strength that had made her a great leader. At the final test, the ground shook and a deep voice echoed, Queen Valshara, do you accept your path as ruler of the Zolari and protector of peace? She knelt and answered clearly, I do. The earth stilled. Light shone from the moons, bathing her in a warm glow. The crowd watching from above cheered, their fears replaced with hope. Back in the palace, Elias and Valshara stood together before the court. Peace is not given, Elias said. It is earned. It requires trust, courage, and sacrifice. He looked into Valshara's eyes. We have seen the darkness that hate brings. Now, we choose light. Valshara smiled softly and placed a hand on her belly. Our child is the future, a future where humans and Zalari stand united. News of the trial spread across the Dominion and human colonies. Many celebrated the victory, but challenges remained. The factions that had tried to destroy the peace had not disappeared, but now, the Queen and her mate stood stronger than ever. Together, they began a new mission exploring the secrets of the Helix Rift. Scientists and soldiers from both species joined in. They shared knowledge, technology, and stories. Valshara and Elias knew this was just the beginning. Months later, beneath the same twin moons, Valshara held her child for the first time. The infant was a beautiful symbol of two worlds coming together, a new life filled with promise. Elias looked on with tears in his eyes. We did it, he whispered. Val single quotes, Shara nodded. Double quotes, yes. Together, we changed the stars.